Hello, good morning to all of you. I am Hari Krishnan, typing instructor working at National Institute for the Persons with Visual Disabilities, Regional Center, Chennai. Here we assembled to celebrate 15th October 2020 as International White Cane Safety Day. In that manner, today, 15th October 2020, our National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities Regional Center, Chennai, observing International White Cane Safety Day by way of webinar. Now, I call upon Mr. C.C. Kasimani, Training Officer of National Institute for Persons with Visual Disabilities, Regional Center, Chennai, to give an introduction about this webinar. Also, our Kasimani sir is working at our center for the past 30 years. Now I call upon our CC Kasimani sir, training officer.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I thank our respected Director, National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities, Dehradun, Dr. Himanshu Das, and our respected officer in charge, Dr. R. Shripriya, NIEPBD RC Chennai, for the approval for the conduct of today's webinar on this occasion. NIEPBD Regional Center Chennai is used to celebrate the White Cane Awareness Day every year on the October 15 by organizing an activity or event. For example, taking a white cane rally out, followed by some cultural activities, so on and so forth. This year, due to this pandemic, we decided to celebrate International White Cane Safety Day by way of organizing a webinar to mark the occasion at regional level. For blind people, white cane is an essential tool that gives us the ability to achieve a full and independent life. It allows us to move freely, safely, and gracefully from place to place, whether it's at work, at educational institutions, or around our neighborhoods. White Cane Awareness Day is our way of emphasizing critical role that this tool plays in living the lives we want and informing the public about its true significance. We use our senses of hearing and touch to explore and understand the world around us. The white cane, in effect, makes our hands and arms longer so that we can assess the situation and move quickly and confidently. The white cane allows us to avoid obstacles, find steps and curbs, locate and step over cracks or uneven places in the sidewalks, find doorways, get into cars, buses, trains, and much more. In this webinar, we have 4 paper presentations by our resource persons. 2 of them are external resource persons and very senior and experienced individuals. The first one of them is Mrs. Maggie Shantakumari, who has more than 40 years of experience in the field. Some organizations of the southern states of India invited her and honored on the occasion of International White Cane Safety Day, considering her long years of experience in orientation and mobility. Mr. Raghuraman is another external resource person who is an assistant professor in the Department of English, Government Arts College for Men, Nandanam, Chennai. He is so good in technology, devices, and apps being used for the orientation and mobility by the visually impaired individuals. Mr. Raghuraman is also heading Karnavidya Technology Center, which is a center of excellence for the blind youths. Other 2 resource persons who are having long years of experience in the field, Mrs. Grace Jabbarani and Mrs. Valli, are from our regional center. Our chief guest of this program, Mr. A.M. Venkatakrishnan, is a renowned lawyer in High Court of Chennai and Supreme Court of India, and also an international attorney despite his visual impairment. Now I wish all the participants and resource persons for very, very fruitful sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Kasimani, sir. Thank you for your introductory remarks on today's webinar. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I convey my thanks to you. Next, I call upon Dr. R. Sripriya, Officer in charge of our National Institute for the Persons with Visual Disabilities Regional Center and Head of Department of Special Education, to propose welcome address. To say about Madam, Madam has 14 years of experience in the field of visual impairment and has got exposure to deal children with multiple disabilities. Also, Madam completed BSc B.Ed, MA Public Administration, MSc Psychology, MS Counseling and Psychotherapy, and MAd in Special Education, VI, SCT and NET, and completed PhD in Special Education, that too in visual impairment. So now I call upon Madam to give inaugural address. Madam, thank you. Welcome address. I'm sorry, welcome address, madam. Sorry, welcome address. Thank you very much. Okay.
No problem,
Sorry.
sir. Thank you so much for that brief introduction. With the blessings of my Almighty, on the behalf of family members of National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Divyangjan Regional Center, Chennai, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Ministries of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, it gives me immense pleasure and overwhelm to welcome all of them who are gathered here today in this virtual platform to commemorate the significance of International White Cane Safety Day 2020 in the form of webinar on this auspicious day. As rightly put forward by our CC Kasimini sir, White Cane Safety Day is celebrated every year on October 15. It was established as a day of observation in 1964. It brings attention to the ability to those with vision loss to move about on their own while using this important tool and the general public's need to be mindful of those using these canes to give them the right of way. We all know that a white cane is a device used by many people who are blind or visually impaired. A white cane primarily allows its users to scan their surroundings for obstacles or orientation marks, but it's also helpful for onlookers in identifying the user as blind or visually impaired and taking appropriate care. Despite technological advances, the white cane continues to be an essential tool for millions of people who are visually impaired or blind to be able to travel independently and safely. And have to mention here that since the onset of COVID-19, the white cane has become increasingly useful for those facing vision loss to be able to navigate on their own without relying upon the close proximity of sighted guide, which could further increase their exposure to the novel coronavirus. It also serves to raise the general public awareness, alerting those that the person using the white cane may not be able to see the markings on the floor or signs designed to manage the social distancing. So even at the COVID-19 time also, we can see that white cane is playing a major role. With this brief introduction about the importance of this observation of the day, it gives me honor to welcome the most distinguished chief guest for today's inaugural, Shri A.M. Venkatakrishnan, advocate and international attorney, disabled rights activist, a person with versatile experience in dealing with civil and criminal cases and many achievements like creation of team of advocates throughout the country to look after the matters before various courts. And he is also a recipient of many achievements. Quite a few worthy to mention includes the Best Lawyer Award from Justice H.L. Gokhale, Chief Justice of Madras High Court in the year 2013, Best Self-Employed Award from Tamil Nadu Government 2013, recipient of Lifetime Achievement Awards from IAB Madurai and Netrodaya Trust. NIEPVD Regional Center really call us high up for this August presence today. We, from the bottom of our hearts, we welcome you humbly, sir. Welcome it. Next, I would like to welcome the four presenters of the day who are here to enrich and enlighten us for the day's delight. First of all, I would like to welcome Srimati Maggie Santakumari, who is having more than 40 years of sharing her expertise in the field of visual impairment. She is joining with us to detail about the history of the white cane and the significance of the International White Cane Safety Day 2020. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Raghuram, who's been assistant professor from Nandanam Arts College, Chennai. Such a sound personality, always shouldering the dignified thoughts and able services for the welfare of the community of visual impairment. He is here with us to cognize our perceptions about the modern technology and its vitality for persons with visual impairment. Next, I would like to welcome Srimati Grace Jabarani, lecturer in education, and a crew of NIEPVD Regional Center family for having 9 years of teaching experience in school sector and 2 years of experience in our Department of Special Education, as aligned to share her thoughts about the challenges in independent mobility of visually impaired during this COVID-19 pandemic. And also would like to welcome Mrs. P. Valli, ILS instructor, and the crew member of NIEPVD Regional Center family who has successfully trained 16 batches of trainees of coping skills and adjustment. She is gathered here to highlight about the orientation mobility and as a foremost step to the rehabilitation for the blind. It is my pleasure to once again welcome them for their laborious content validation for the said webinar. It also, not the least, I have to add on to here that it gives me immense pleasure in welcoming the sole mind behind this webinar, Shri C.C. Kasimini sir, Braille Shorthand Instructor and Training Officer in charge. I would like to proclaim his name as also as a COVID warrior, because even at the time of this COVID time, in spite of the difficulties of the period of this pandemic, he is still standing with us and has taken the efforts to bring out this webinar in its full stream. Welcome you, sir. I would also welcome the technical support team, Shri D. Harikrishnan sir, typing instructor, and today's program moderator, Shri S. Pandirajan, technician, regional Braille Press, Shri Mahime Raj Warden and Dinesh Kumar, office assistant, for enabling this day to sprout out well with the planned services and deliberations. Last but not the least, I welcome all the participants and family members of NIPVD Regional Center Chennai for gathering along with us to make this program a grand success. With this note, I sign out with warm and sincere gratitude from the bottom of my heart and wishes that the program achieves the purpose it intended for. Thanking you all once again.
Madam, thank you very much, madam, for your welcome address. Thank you very much once again. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. A.M. Venkatakrishnan, Advocate, International Attorney, and Advocate, Supreme Court of India, to deliver inaugural address. To say few words about his qualifications and experience, he has completed BA, ML, and PG diploma, PM and TR, and business law. He has wide experience in appearing and conducting court cases before all the courts in India. Moreover, our chief guest is a disabled rights activities. Now I call upon Dr. Mr. A.M. Venkatakrishnan to deliver inaugural address. Thank you, sir.
Good morning and welcome you all for this wonderful webinar. In fact, I thank Dr. Kasiminiji as well as all others from the NIVPD for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be in midst of you all on this wonderful occasion. Because NIVPD, the erstwhile NIVH, has done human services to the upliftment as well as for the development of life and future for the visually impaired, right from providing technical education to as well as providing mobility training, computer training, and whatever the new innovative ideas have come. The S5 NIVH or the now NIEPVD has been a forerunner or in the forefront in taking up the welfare measures as well as the welfare activities for the blind, with more particular. So I thank the Kasim Energy for giving me this opportunity to be in midst of you all on this wonderful occasion. As you all know, the White Cane Day is celebrated from the year 1964, and it has its significance running to the United States of America, where Mr. Lyndon Johnson, who was instrumental in bringing up this White Cane Day celebrations on 15th of October 1964, earmarking a beginning of independence, self-esteem, self-respect, as well as for achieving, as well as for ascertaining the development as well as the achievements of the visually impaired. The white cane not only acts as a tool for mobility, but it also acts as a tool of independence for the visually impaired. In fact, through the object as well as help of the Lions Clubs International, the first White Cane Day was celebrated by the US in the year 1964. Thereupon, it had its mark presence in various other countries like Europe, Asia, and in India, we are celebrating this White Cane Day for almost for the past 2.5 decades. And many organizations have been a forerunner or in the forefront, we can say, in celebrating this White Canes Day celebrations, with a special reference to Lions Clubs International, who also take it as an opportunity to commemorate this function every year. Besides which, wonderful organizations such as the NIVH or the present NIEPVD, as well as all other associations, also now have taken it up as a day to celebrate the achievements, as well as to acknowledge the achievements of the visually impaired. In fact, these kind of celebrations are a must, not only to motivate the upcoming visually impaired, but also to create a sense of feeling to the mind of the so-called sighted general community, whereby to showcase the talents, as well as the achievements, as well as the progress made by the visually impaired community at large. Gone are the days where people used to say that a visually impaired can work as a teacher or a lecturer or a music teacher or a musician. Now, almost we can boast ourselves and say that almost in all the fields that visually impaired people have started to become a role models. Take the field of law, take the field of science, take the field of engineering. Now, recently we are even having a chartered accountant, a company secretary everywhere. Now, the visually impaired community have started to become role models. This is a welcome future as well as a welcome development, as the technology, which is a boom for the visually impaired, is also been taken to its fullest advantage by the visually impaired, which has made it easier for them to aim and achieve new goals, as well as to step into new areas. No doubt, organizations like the NIEPVD have a pivotal role in making these achievements a dream into a reality. Besides which, the human services done by NIEPVD is always commendable, and I hope, bless and wish that they continue this human service for another 100 years at least, because the need of the hour is not only to make them motivated, but also to provide technical support, as well as to impart the knowledge, as well as the need and necessity for having the technical knowledge to the visually impaired. Nowadays, programs such as Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint have become a VEC tool for the visually impaired. Maybe very soon we will be seeing the days where the visually impaired people will be in the forefront in the field of PowerPoint presentations, as well as in the field of accounting and other financial aspects. The need of the hour is also that when the technology is helping us so much, and when the new and new courses are also coming to effect, still they people have to be sensitized about the requirements, the needs, and the awareness towards the physically challenged in general, and more particularly towards the visually impaired. No doubt the visually impaired may have certain vision impairment that will never deter them from achieving or aiming at new goals. People have to still understand what are all the requirements of a visually abled. Instead of merely showing a sympathy, they should aim at understanding the needs of the visually impaired and providing them with ample opportunity, both in the field of education as well as employment. It is worth noting that still the phone cut பண்ணு phone cut பண்ணு cut பண்ணு. It is worth noting
Hello.
that it is, sir, இப்ப
Okay, sir.
கேக்குதுல?
Correct,
It is
correct.
worth it
Correct,
is
sir, please.
worth it is worth noting that still in the field of private employment, more opportunities have to be provided to the visually impaired, as well as the physically challenged in general. Though the Persons with Disabilities and Equal Opportunities Act is there, 4% reservation is provided in the employment, all is pertaining only to the government employment. What we require is, nowadays, when government is shifting their responsibilities towards the private agencies, more and more private agencies also should come forward and provide employment opportunities to the visually impaired. See, one issue which is has to be addressed by organizations like NIEPD would be to procure more employment opportunities for the visual impaired in the private sector also. Last but not the least, the sensitization should be in such a way that the the so-called abled body men or the sighted people, whichever term you may call them, they should understand that mere sympathy is not necessary, and opportunities alone would envisage and help the advancement as well as the growth of visual impaired, not only in physical sector but also in financial life, thereby enabling them to come to the mainstream. I request organizations like NIEPVD to conduct more webinar sessions to sensitize the general public at large towards the difficulties faced by the visually impaired. And I assure my unconditional support to NIEPD to, in the event of conducting any such webinars in future, to be a part of it and help whatever little that I could do. Once again, I thank NIVPD as well as the Kasimini ji for providing this wonderful opportunity to be in midst of you all. Thank you.
Sir, advocate sir, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, you are welcome. Your inaugural address is very informative and very motivational address, sir. It will help all others. You have touched all the departments. So you have told that unconditional help
Yes, sir.
also. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Please,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for your inaugural
Thank you.
address, sir. Very valuable inaugural address, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Next, I call upon Mrs. Maggie Shantakumari that we are going to begin webinar session. Mrs. Maggie Shantakumari, orientation and mobility expert, for the presentation of history of weight gain and the significance of the International Weight Gain Safety Day 2020. So, Madam has acquired 40 years of experience in this field, and also Madam has acquired MA, MEd and MPhil and Bachelor of Mobility Science. Also, Madam has authored few books on orientation and mobility and dissertation on orientation and mobility. Now, I call upon Mrs. Maggie Shantakumari to present the topic. Thank you, Madam. Please.
First of all, I thank Almighty God for giving us this opportunity. I thank Sri Priya, in charge director, Mr. Kasimani, training officer, Mr. Hari Krishnan, Mr. Pandey Rajan, and all respected persons. Good morning to everyone. Training officer, Mr. Hari Krishnan, Mr. Pandey Rajan, and all respected persons. Good morning to everyone. Today, the White Cane Day is not just a tool used by travelers with vision loss. It is a symbol of members of our community who are visually disabled. White Cane Safety Day is observed annually on October 15th to recognize the many achievements of visually disabled citizens and the white cane as a tool promoting independent travel. There are reference of blind travelers using a stick, cane, or shepherd's stick as a tool for independent travel since biblical time. It has only been during the last century that the white cane has served the dual role of both as tool for travel and symbol identifying the user as a visually disabled traveler. And early as 1921, there are references of blind travelers using a stick, cane, or shepherd's stick as a tool for independent travel since biblical times. It has only been during the last century that the white cane has served the dual role of both the tool for travel and symbol identifying the user as a visually disabled traveler. And early as 1921, as early as 1921,
Next. Hello, ma'am. 5.1.
Next is
Hello, ma'am. 46 தானா கம்மியா இருக்குல்ல உங்க மேம் ஹலோ
earliest 1921, artist James Bridge, who lost his sight in an accident, claimed to have the first white cane as a symbol when he painted his cane white to alert passing motorists that he was a blind traveler. Next. 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 Next one. Yes. Yes. 10 years later, in France, Gilles Hermant, you can see his photo, undertook a national white stick movement to promote the use of white canes. This idea spread to England when the BBC suggested in press coverage of this movement that all citizens who were visually disabled be provided with the white stick as a universal symbol for visually disabled. Next. You can see some of the pictures in that. White cane. Yes, next one. In 1931, the Lions Club in North America independently began promoting the white cane for travel when one of its members, observed as visually disabled, traveled as a street crossing using a black cane for mobility, which was barely visible to motorists and passers-by. Next. After blinded World War II, veterans began returning home in greater number and seeking reintegration into their communities. Dr. Richard Hoover developed a longer, whiter cane or Hoover cane to be used both as a tool for travel as well as symbol. Next. In the decades prior to the Hoover cane, the white cane was often held outright by travelers in a fixed diagonal position. Peoria, Illinois was the first community to pass special ordinance for white cane travel in 1930, which granted travelers with the white cane the right of way. Richard Hoover has been referred to as the father of the lightweight long cane technique. In 1944, as an army surgeon, he was assigned to the Center for the Treatment of Blinded Soldiers, Valley Forge Army Hospital. There he developed a successful cane technique, replacing the traditional short white cane with a lightweight long cane cut to the prescription length and using the technique of arcing the cane from side to side with the tip touching the ground in front of the trailing foot. Next. First year later, Detroit passed a similar law, later adopted by the state of Michigan on October 6, 1964. After lobbying by various organizations, a joint resolution of Congress was enacted which read, resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the President is hereby authorized to issue annual proclamation designating October 15th as White Cane Safety Day and calling upon the people of the United States of America to observe such a day with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Within hours, the President Lyndon proclaimed October 15th as White Cane Safety Day. America to observe such a day with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Within hours, the President Lyndon proclaimed October 15th as White Cane Safety Day. Next. President Clinton reminded the nation that on October 15th, with proper training, people using the white cane can enjoy greater mobility and safety by determining the location of curbs, steps, uneven pavement, road crossing, diagonal technique, and other physical obstacle in their paths. Next. The white cane has given them the freedom to travel independently to their schools, and workplace and to participate more fully in the life of their communities. It reminds us that the only barriers against people with disabilities are discriminatory attitudes and practice that our society has too often placed in their way. Next, as we observe White Cane Safety Day, let us recall the history of the white cane, its emergence as a tool and a symbol through history as visually disabled independence. Let us also recall the events that have permitted us to celebrate October 15th as White Cane Safety Day. Since the beginning of the year 2001, the deafblind people have got an important tool aid for the movement in a public spaces, streets, and crossing the and that is the red and white cane. In the white cane day, we have to teach visually disabled if they use long cane, they will improve personal development, independence in movement, social integration, self-confidence, safety of the individual, comprehensive rehabilitation, mobility, and sports. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your kind presentation. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Next.
Sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next, I call upon Mrs. P. Valli, ILS instructor, for the next presentation of orientation and mobility. First and foremost, step to the rehabilitation for the blind. So, Mrs. P. Valli has acquired the qualifications such as MSc, BEd, special education, and Mrs. Valli has the experience with our center for the past 3 years. During lockdown also, she was instrumental for the preparation of a handbook on home-based activity for children with visual impairment during COVID pandemic 2020. Now I call upon Mrs. P. Valli, ILS instructor, to present her presentation. Thank you, madam. Please.
A warm good morning to one and all. Today, we are celebrating the International White Cane Day, also known as White Cane Safety Day. On this occasion, let us discuss the importance of orientation and mobility. The first and foremost, rehabilitation for the persons with visual impairment. Shall we move on to the slides, please?
Sir, hello.
Objectives: to enable the persons with visual impairment to move safely and independently in both indoor and outdoor environment. To share few ideas to sharpen the remaining senses through sensory training. Enabling the persons with visual impairment to avail a variety of real experience and enhance their understanding concept. Now we will see what is orientation and mobility. Orientation is the ability to use one's location in the environment at any given time. Mobility is the ability to move from one place to another safely and independently. Definition of orientation and mobility. Orientation and mobility may be defined as the teaching of the concepts, skills, and techniques necessary for a person with visual impairment to travel safely, efficiently, and gracefully through any environment under all environmental conditions and situations. Now we will see the importance of orientation and mobility. It enables the person with visual impairments to become more independent in indoor as well as outdoor mobility. Mobility enables an individual to perform daily activities like going to a grocery shop or a temple or some common places so that they can develop their interpersonal relations. Mobility enhances the safety of the individual and his fellow beings and also essential for correcting their gait and postural defects. To be able to move independently within environment is one of the prerequisites for employment, economic rehabilitation or income generation. Learning O&M is a prerequisite for promoting sports among the persons with visual impairment. Now we will discuss the sensory aspects of orientation and mobility. Auditory awareness. In auditory awareness, we will see the sound alignment, sound discrimination, sound localization, and sound identification. In sound alignment, the ability to determine moving sound, where the sound is coming from, and how fast it is moving. Such type of activity can be understood by sound alignment. Sound discrimination. This is the ability to select from among the many sounds in the environment the one sound which is useful for mobility. Sound localization. Sound specific place where the sound is coming from, that is the direction of the sound. Example, a moving vehicle sound. Sound identification. To give name to something that is making sound. That is, we can record the different types of sounds. Example, any birds or any musical instruments, etc., can be recorded in a tape recorder, and we can give it to the persons with visual impairment to identify what type of sound it is. Now we will discuss the touch awareness. Identifying different types of objects by the sense of touch. An object can be explained by touching it and feeling the textures, that is whether the object is soft or rough or hot or cold, heavier, lighter. These kind of textures can be by the sense of touch. They can feel the touching awareness. Next, we will discuss the kinesthetic sense, knowledge of the movement and position of the body. That is the direction of turn. Persons with visual impairments has to be taught to be aware of their body movements in relation to the direction and degree of turns by using a clock. Now we will see this clock. So just you can make the person with visual impairment to stand if we are facing the north, east, and south, west, both direction. To explain the direction, we can make them to stand in a circle and facing north direction. You can ask the numbers, that is 3, 6, 9, and 12 can be mentioned in a clock. When the person with visual impairment is facing number 12, means he is facing north. When he is facing right hand side, when he is turning, means that is 90-degree turn, then he will be facing east. Again, right hand when he is moving towards the right and facing south. Similarly, he takes another 90-degree to face west. So that direction of the turn can be explained. Now we will discuss about the mobility techniques. What are the different types of mobility techniques involved, we will see. First one is the sighted guide techniques. Second, independent travel skills or self-protective techniques. Third one is the cane techniques. Now we will discuss about the sighted guide techniques. In sighted guide techniques, making contact with the sighted. First one, we have to speak to make contact, introduce yourself, ask the person if they require assistance, and if so, stand alongside the person and let them take your arm. What are the steps involved in sighted guide techniques? We will discuss. First one is the tapping, and then trailing along the hand, holding, walking with a guide. In this sighted guide technique, it is very important while walking with the VI person. While walking with the guide, the VI person should always be half step behind the guide. Tapping is nothing but tapping the hands of the guide. Trailing along the hand means the guide, the VI has to trail along their hand. And holding position will be like this. That is the thumb should be outwards and all the other four fingers should be curved in. These are the holding position of the sighted guide technique. See here, the thumb is outside and all the other four fingers are inside, and he is the guide and he is the visually impaired. These are some pictures of sighted guide techniques. In sighted guide technique, we will discuss about the narrow spaces. While approaching narrow spaces, how VI should approach the narrow spaces, we will discuss. Sometimes we may need to pass through narrow spaces such as a crowded place. In such cases, the guide will bend her arm backwards so that the VI will move her hand to the wrist of the guide. See here, the guide is here and the VI is standing just behind the guide in the same line, so that they both can move in a crowded places, in a marketplaces. And after leaving the crowded places, the VI again moves her hand to the normal position so that the guide moves and holds the elbow of the guide. Ascending and descending staircase. The guide informs the VI about going up or down the stairs. The guide, after informing by the guide takes the first step and stops so that the visually impaired can find the edge of the first step with his foot. Slowly, they both proceed the rest of the way. In ascending staircase, this is the position. See, the guide is going forward and one step behind, the VI is standing. In descending staircase, here also the guide is moving forward and the VI is one step behind. Being held to a chair, that is, while approaching a chair, what is the position we will see. What are the procedures we will discuss. When we come to a place where there is a chair, the guide will stop and inform the visually impaired about the position of the chair. That is, the seat of the chair is directly in front of you. The guide, see here, the guide informs the VI about the chair, and the guide places the arms of the VI on the back of the chair. The VI explores the chair and sees whether it is an armed chair or armless chair, and also lift the chairs and see the condition of the chair. Here the VI explores the seat of the chair with the back of his hand, and finally the VI person sits comfortably on the chair. Passing through the doorways. When the doors open into a room towards the guide and the VI has to move to the left side of the guide. The guide should put the VI's hand on the door handle so that they both pass through, and the VI will know where the door is and can avoid bumping into the edge of the door. See here, both the guide and the VI are standing here, and the guide is putting the hand on the handle of the door. Side change. As the guide insists the VI to change the side, the VI drives the guide back and holds the other arm. Now we will discuss about the self-protective techniques, also called as independent travel skills. It enables the VI to travel efficiently and independently in familiar indoor environments without the use of a mobility aid. In this, we will discuss about the upper hand and forearms. This technique is used to detect vertical objects which may be encountered by the upper region of the body. See, this is the upper body protection. Just by keeping the hands like this, the guide can move to protect the upper body. Next is the lower hand and forearms. It enables the VI to locate and protect him from objects at waist level. Now we will discuss about the trailing. To enable the VI to maintain straight line of travel in a desired direction. With the back of the hand, the VI trails and identifies the objects with ring finger and little finger. See, this is the pictures for trailing. That is hand trailing to locate the furniture and other large objects. Similarly, this is the trailing in a tight space. That is in between the tables in classrooms. These are the method of trailing. Close-up hand trailing using the back of the hand with the two fingers we have to trail. Now we will discuss about the search pattern. Dropped objects can be searched using perimeter method and column method or aeroplane method. In a column method, to search an object on a table, you have to place both the hands together and then move from one corner to the opposite corner in a straight line, that is in a column manner, to detect any object that has been missed on the table. In such again returning to the same position and trailing to the second column. By this, if any object is missed on the table, it can be searched. Similarly, any coins, that is 1 rupee or 5 rupee coins, has been missed means you have to wait patiently and hear with the sense of hearing, that is where the coin is rolling down, which direction the coin is moving, and again after that you have to go and search in that direction. Keywords in orientation and mobility. First one is clue. Any environmental sounds, smells or objects or tactile information which can help the VI in his path of travel is called a clue. These clues are temporary. That is, for example, in walking on a main road, the tea shops or a flower vendor shops, if it is open means they can get the smell from that place. So these are temporary. We will discuss about the landmarks. Landmarks are permanent. Example, schools, government hospitals, churches, temples, etc. These are all permanent landmarks. Shoreline. The guidelines of roads, pathways, edges or border of any road are all called shorelines. Now we will discuss about the cane techniques. First, we will see the importance of using a cane. The cane is considered as an extension of a visually impaired person's arm. The cane detects the obstacles in the path of the user. What are the kinds of cane available? We will see. There are many different kinds of cane used by the persons with visual impairment for mobility. Some are made up of aluminium or other kinds of metal. Some are made up of wood or bamboo or rattan. These are the different kinds of canes. See the long cane, then foldable cane, bamboo cane, and then this is the white cane. Now we will discuss about the long cane. The long cane has 4 parts: crook, grip, shaft and tip. Crook is made up of plastic and grip is made up of rubber. Shaft is made up of aluminium and tip is made up of polypropylene. The length of the cane should be up to the middle of the user's chest. The holding position of the cane is that thumb should be on the top of the cane and the index finger is pointed forward. Now we will see the picture of the long cane. See, this is the long cane. On top is the crook. It is made up of plastic, and this is called the grip position. It is made up of rubber, and this is the made up of aluminium. It is called the shaft, and the last one is the tip, and it is a polypropylene plastic. Now we will see the arc of the cane. Moving the tip of the cane from left to right and right to left to make an arc. The arc should be little wider than the width of the user's shoulder. When you tap the cane to the right side of your foot, of your left foot is kept forward, and similarly when the cane tip is tapped to the left side, the right foot is kept forward. The important thing is that the touch of your foot and the tap of your cane on the ground should occur at the same time. So by little and with a lots of practice, you can learn to coordinate the footsteps and cane swing in a steady rhythm. This is the picture of making an arc. The VI person is placing his left leg forward, so the cane is tapped to the right side. So these are the pictures of making an arc. Now we will discuss about the functions of the cane. The cane serves two primary functions. The first one is it protects the visually impaired from bumping into objects, that is to identify the obstacles in the path of the user. Second one is it also gives information about the surface of the ground in front of the user, which is directly in the line of travel. Example, to identify the ground, what type of ground it is, that is whether it is a grass or sand or gravel or concrete or any other kinds of road surfaces, it can be used. These are the pictures of detecting obstacles. See, the VI is moving with the cane, and there is a cycle in front of him. He is detecting with the help of the cane and identifying different surfaces, the grass, and then this is a pebbles, and this is a concrete surface. Touch techniques, trailing. The edge or border of the road or raised footpath is shoreline. This is the touch and tap procedure. The VI is touching on the road and tapping over the platform. Trailing the road and the footpath is called trailing the shoreline. This is the shoreline, following a shoreline, and this is also a picture of following a shoreline. He is following the left, shoreline is left hand side, here the shoreline is right side. Ascending and descending staircase with a guide. Ascending staircase, the cane should be in a vertical position and the tip of the cane should strike against the rise of the stair one step ahead of the visually impaired forward foot. As you move up the stairs, your cane will swing forward to strike against the rise of the next step up. Descending staircase, using the cane to touch the edge of the stair one step below to move down the stairs. See, this is the picture for ascending staircase. He is moving with the cane is moving front, and I informs him that he has reached to the top. When he reaches the top, you will see that the ground has come. Here, it is the descending staircase. The cane is moving forward, and informs him about the floor. Now we will discuss about the smart cane device. It is an electronic travel aid which fits on the top fold of the normal white cane that assists a person with visual impairment in mobility. The smart cane device uses ultrasonic sensors to detect the presence of obstacles in the path of travel. These sensors should always face forward in the direction of your movement. This device detects obstacles from knee to head height, that is, it is meant for upper body protection. The presence of obstacles can be detected by vibrations. It can detect obstacles up to 3 meters when kept in long range mode and 1.8 meters when kept in short range mode. See, this is a smart cane device. It is like a pencil box. It will be small in size. These both are called as the sensor. On this sensor, okay, with this sensor, we will get the vibration. The VI will get the vibration when the system is switched on. There is an on-off switch over here, and a mode switch will be there over here. When the VA wants to keep the mode switch in long range mode, he can keep it in long range, or else in short range mode is for indoor mobility, and long range is mode for outdoor mobility. And here is there is a charger pin will be there, similar to a mobile phone. It can be charged for a for full charging. It has to be charged for 8 hours, and it can be used continuously. See this smart cane device means you can open the smart cane device, and the long cane means foldable cane, white cane is fixed into it. Benefits of using smart cane device. It detects knee above obstacles. Example, branch of a tree, side mirror of a car, hanging cloth sticks, protruding window air conditioner, advertisement boards, signboards, etc. Hence, conclusion, we will conclude by saying orientation mobility for the persons with visual impairment includes many interrelated skills. Learning to be independent and to travel safely with a cane is very much essential for the persons with visual impairment. Each O&M techniques makes the visually impaired aware of his or her environment. Day by day, in every way, there may be something new to experience in mobility. Hence, I would like to say, practicing the cane technique properly makes the visually impaired person independent in mobility. I also thank our NIE organization for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this webinar. And I also thank all the participants of this webinar. I once again thank one and all. Thank you.
Valli madam, thank you very much. Your presentation is very good. Your presentation will help all our students, trainees, teachers, and others. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind presentation. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Raguraman, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Arts College for Men, Nandanam, Chennai, for the presentation of modern technology helps easy orientation and mobility for the persons with visual impairment. So our Raghuraman sir, assistant professor, has completed MA, MPhil in English. He has 10 years of teaching experience in Arts College, Chennai, Government Arts College, Nandanam, and also is performing as honorary secretary in Karna Vidyalaya Technology Center. So now I call upon Mr. Raghuraman, Assistant Professor, to deliver his presentation. Sir, please, sir. Hello.
Good morning, friends.
Okay, sir. Your
Thank you.
voice is audible. Very good, sir. Okay, sir. Right, sir. Please continue, sir. Okay.
Good morning,
Sir,
friends, and
continue.
thank you so much for this opportunity. And it is a great honor to be a part of the National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities on celebrating the White Cane Day, International White Cane Day. The topic is given to speak on modern technology for mobility for visually impaired. So I'm here to highlight on certain important aspects or certain important apps that helps us to walk over freely and to help us navigate the environment very accessible. The first and foremost is the white cane. That is what a visual impaired will always depend on. And the white cane is the friend, philosopher, and guide, right? Because it helps us to navigate. It sometimes guides us, and many times gives us learnings, many learnings. When we walk on the way, we learn a lot with the help of this white cane. And in fact, a lot of details were spoken about it. So I'm not going into detail. And in fact, even smart cane was also introduced in earlier speeches. So I am only going to focus on the mobile applications. So when we walk over the streets, and the two streets in Chennai, we always find something or the other hitting at us, or something or the other, right, crossing over. So we need to know what is there in the front. We should know what is the environment look like, and how we need to make ourselves comfortable when we walk. And also, more importantly, we should ourselves make ourselves much more safer than anyone else. Right? These are all two important things. One is the comfort zone, the second is the safety zone. So for these two things, there are several applications which has come in place. And I'm just uh, I would like to highlight on the first one, the Google Map. Right? Google Map is something very, very easy, accessible, right? And it's a very easy to navigate, explore, right? It is there within every Android mobile, in every iOS. I just need to go in, right? Open up the maps, and you just need to start your navigation. There'll be an option for that, and you just need to start your navigation, and it will ask you for the destination. You need to just enter the details of the destination, and I think you will be it will be asking you walk mode, and other different modes are there. Walk mode, or would you like to go by car, or would you like to go by any private vehicle, something like that. So the options will be there. So it is for us to choose the option and walk. And in fact, when we walk, the if you switch it on the Google map, it will tell us, it will give us instructions like where we go, right, how we go, and things like that. But this description given by Google Map is limited to a certain extent, in the sense that it will help us to say you're here, and you're crossing this street, you're taking right, and you're taking left, and everything, right? But there are certain other things that are essential when we walk. Uh, More importantly, we should know what is there on our sides, or when we walk on our sides. For example, if we are walking on a pavement, we need to know what is there on the sides, right? Who is coming in the front, right? For that, we have another app called ID Pro, right? ID Pro is it there is a it is a Indian based application, right? ID Pro will help us to just easy to install, but of course it is a paid software. And once you install and you just open it, you would see several options. One important option is where am I, right? Where am I, right? If a person visually impaired is stranded somewhere, if he is trapped in some place, right, some traffic or something somewhere, right, if he is unknown to that location, you just need to open up this app and go into this option called where am I, and that will help us to understand, right? It give you the full address, and as well it will give you the landmark of that place. It will give you the nearby important locations, important landmarks, and that will help us to communicate the same to our friend over phone, so that they can come and either take us, or they can come and reach us, right? And in fact, the same option, you can share that map. In fact, in that where am I option can be shared. That map can be directly shared by WhatsApp to that particular to your friend or someone, right? So that they will understand the Google. I mean, they will get the Google map, and they will follow you, and they will come to you, come and reach you, right? So that is one thing. The another important option in that same app itself, you have an option called Around Me, right? If you just click on Around Me, right, it just and if you just take your camera across, right, around across, it will just take a snap and tell you what is there around your environment, what is there everywhere, like is surrounding you, right? So that way, the visual impaired can get an idea, like whatever is there, he will just get an idea and he can accordingly proceed further, right? That is one thing, right? The another important thing is the same app also has an option called bank, right? ATM, right? And as well hotels, and as well it talks about the nearby important places. So our job is to click that option, right? We need to click that option. Once you click it up, it will, for example, if I want to go to an ATM, I just click it or double tap that, for example. Once I double tap it, it will open and it will show the nearby banks available, the ATM banks available. And in fact, there is another important option here. You can expand the radius of the your search. Like it starts with 0 to 500, and then 500, and you can expand up to 3000 radius. So up to 3000 radius, you can expand and find out the nearby ATMs available, the nearby restaurants available, the nearby hotels available, the nearby banks available, right? So all these are possible. And not only this, if you want to further down, go to a specific ATM, for example, State Bank of India, you just need to click that ATM, that option, right? When I say click, you need to double tap that using TalkBack. And once you open up that, the double tap open will open up, and it will also show you the directions, right? It will also show you the directions. You can choose the direction, and either if it is somewhere close by, you can walk over, or if it is somewhere little far off, you can even take a Ola or Uber, right? So that way, see, the ID Pro is something very, very prominent. It helps visual impaired, right, navigating the environment very easily and in an accessible way, right? We also have another app called Outlook by Google again, right? Outlook is a different separate app, but Outlook gives you some two, three important things. One is it describes the environment. You just need to click up and you just need to show across, right? It will take a picture of the environment and it will read out. For example, there are two tables and two chairs in front, right? And there are some box, right, in front of you, or a laptop or something. So whatever is available before you, or wherever you show that camera, it will just take a snap and it will read out, right? And again, you also have a app called Envision. That Envision is also having description, gives you description of the environment, right? So wherever you, just once you open up the link or open up that item description, right, you just need to take the camera across, it will take a snap and it will again read out the same option, right? The same option, right, in both Outlook and Envision, right? And as well, you also have another app called SuperSense, right? SuperSense is another app that will help us to find out the face of a man, recognize, right? It recognizes objects or human beings. The human beings, or you just need to train the app a little, in the sense, you just once, for the first time when you see a person, right, you need to just record the name of the person and save that image, right? Once that is stored, right, the second time when you meet him, it will just read the name of the person in front of you, right? So the first time alone is a difficulty. Is a difficulty in the sense, you need to just record the name for the first time. But after which, once you take the same phone and once you activate that item, right, it will just read out or spell out whoever is there before you, right? So that is super sense. And in super sense as well, you also have object recognizers, right? The same pattern, right? And then we also have blind explorer. another app, right? Blind Explorer and Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an important app wherein you have physical volunteers. For example, you are in a house wherein we don't have an accessible medical system in India. So if you are going to use some tablets, or if you are going to use some medicine, or in fact, if your TV goes uh, black, I mean, your TV is not working, or if your system is not functioning well, like there's something on the screen, right? All these are all mobility within the house I'm talking about, right? So you just need to take that camera across, like activate Be My Eyes, open up the app, and then activate and then dial in, right, to some volunteer, right? Whoever is there available will pick the call, and they will come on video mode. You just need to activate the video mode there. So they will come on the video mode and they will just ask you what you want, and just need to tell your requirement, and they will explain whatever is in front of you. So that way it helps us to navigate within the house. In fact, there are people who have used it well during night times, right, or somewhere in a very very peculiar environment, right? Even visually impaired, many of them have used it, like where they were, they got dropped down at some place, right, and stranded, and so they call up Be My Eyes, and there's a volunteer who had supported, and they were able to reach out to their homes safely. Right? So that way, Be My Eyes is also another app that will help us to navigate the environment very effectively. And we also have uh, tactile path, right? But it is not available everywhere. Of course, it is directly not a mobile application. I'm just talking about a strategy, a methodology that is used in the railways, right? I mean, it is just coming up, right? Not in every place, but just coming up in certain buildings, right? Certain government buildings, right? So the only one important safe, uh, saving grace is we have good apps for navigation outdoors, but there are no good applications for indoors. In fact, and indoor applications are yet to be built well. Right? I mean, I have told about Outlook, I have told about SuperSense, I have told about Blind Explorer. All these will help us take snap, right? It will also read out whatever is there. I mean, it will not read out, rather it will tell us whatever is there in front of us, but to a limited extent. Now, in order to satisfy this, there are attempts on glasses. There are attempts on bringing in glasses. Orcam is one important glass that is very much in the market, but it is little costlier. It is not affordable for an Indian, for us ordinary Indian. In fact, I mean, so but Orcam, what it does is it is a camera which is fixed in the specs, and you need to wear the specs. It will connect you with the global GPS, and it will just read out, right, whatever is in front of you, right? There will be a sensor attached to your frame, the specs frame, right? And there'll be a camera attached to the side of your specs, right? So it will just merely take a snap of whatever is there in the front, and it will just read out a man standing before you, right? So this is a glass. This is not an app, right? Orcam is there, and we also have a Envision glasses coming up. Envision glasses are also it is not fully into market, but I mean, hopefully to be there shortly. I mean, that is what their announcement said. But it is there in the Western world, right? It helps us to navigate freely, to understand whatever is there coming in front, right? And there is again many more glasses are being tried out, right? In the sense, in the market we have only few, right? Like Arcam and Google Glass is also coming up, but we are yet to see the Google Glass here in India. So these are all important apps and glass, right? There's a difference between an app, between a navigation glass, right? A specs I'm talking about, right? So when I have a specs or a glass navigate for navigation like Orcom or Envision, the only thing is I will be wherever I just see whatever there in the front will be read out. In an app, wherever I turn my mobile with the camera, it will take a snap and gives us the description. So, but the idea is it is all a first step towards easy and effective mobility, right? It gives the confidence for especially an adult blind. A person who is somewhere got blind in the middle is really got benefited because of all these apps and technology. A person who is already blind since childhood, he never mind much. He just adds use this as an additional support. But for an adult blind, this is the first saving grace, yeah, first support system that gives him the confidence to move around. In that way, the apps, mobile navigation apps, and as well the glass specs that are produced with the camera and sensor, they are all really making a difference in the lives of the visually impaired. But only concern with them is one on the financial part. It is little not affordable. It is really not affordable. And two, the concern is there should be some more customization in terms of Indian scenario, because Indian scenario is much more the traffic and the places are much more congested, right? It is not in a in a proper system, right? We don't keep vehicles at the parking lot. There are no parking lots for in fact every shop, right? I mean we don't stand the place that is properly required, right? We just stand wherever we want. And so I mean the idea is the glasses that are produced, right, the apps that are made, right, they should be much more tuned to the requirements of the Indian environment, right? And as well it should be much more affordable. And third important thing, there are descriptions of course given. As I told you, you take a snap, it helps us move around, correct, right? And even in ID Pro or Google Map, you it helps us to go. It says 500 meters turn right, or 200 meters turn left. But identifying and understanding these meters is something not possible for the very difficult, I mean to say, for the visual impaired, right? When he walks over, like understanding 200 meters and 500 meters and taking, if he is in a very busy work, right? So that is one concern, right? These are all some concerns that if people, whoever is able to listen to this, could look into, right? And also very importantly, um, the maps and uh, the ID, I mean, the apps and maps should be made much more precise, right? That way, uh, the limited description given by the apps as on date should be expanded, right? And we all depend on net connectivity for all these activity, mobile navigation. We seriously need net connectivity, and we all know, even in Chennai, right? Even if you are in the hotspot space, right, the net connectivity is not so good, right? It has to be much more strengthened. So net connectivity, even without net connectivity, we should see, we should find a solution to use an app within a mall like Spencer Plaza, within a mall like Phoenix, or within a cinema theater, right? I should have an app that will help us navigate even without the net connectivity, right? That way, it will be of great help for accessible navigation for visually impaired. So, to be very precise and to conclude, we have apps, we have glasses, and we also have other modes like tactile path, right? But all this to be integrated and all this should be much more aligned and much more developed. These are all in the primary stage, I should say, right? Though it is they are well used by visually impaired, all these give us only a partial support in terms of navigation. Our main support comes from the white cane, right? And this partial support, if it is much more refined and tuned to the environment, to the society that we live in, and to the and all these to be done in vernacular, in regional language. In that way, it will be a great help, and I hope and believe in the coming days, when as science and technology go, the speed in which it develops, I think there will be great changes in the days to come. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I thank the National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities for this great time. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Raghuram, sir. Thank you very much. It is very useful and informative about various apps and devices, which would be very useful for every trainee, students, and staff members who is connected with the blind students. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you once again. I convey my thanks to you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I will call upon Mrs. Grace Chaprani to present the last webinar titled Challenges in Independent Mobility of Visual Impaired During COVID-19 Pandemic. Madam has the experience of as special educator in various NGOs, and presently she is working here as lecturer in our Department of Special Education. Now I call upon Mrs. Grace Jabrani to deliver her presentation. Madam.
Thank you,
please,
sir.
Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all. Today I am proud to take part in this wonderful, noble, objective-based webinar, and my topic of discussion would be about challenges in independent mobility of persons with visual impairment during COVID-19, where I would like to share my thoughts about the changes that the persons with visual impairments are facing during this COVID-19. Let me begin with a quotation lighted by upon a child with blindness in general, and the glimpse of reflection is, oh, what is the thing called light, which I must never enjoy? What are the blessings of the sight? Oh, tell your poor blind boy. Once again, I read it. Oh, what is the thing called light, which I must never enjoy? What are the blessings of the sight? Oh, tell your poor blind boy. It is confronted by the child with blindness by saying, what is the thing called light, which I must never enjoy? What are the blessings of the sight? And alike seeking the attention of everybody. Whereas in conjecture, today people with both eyes and clear vision are indulged to panic about this COVID-19. They are running for their own lives, facing several factors of risk. How are they going to help the visually impaired persons while they also anger negative thought about them in common? For instance, like the blind people are clinically vulnerable to diseases. It was once easy to mobilize the visually impaired persons with exposure to personalized techniques such as orientation and mobility techniques, sighted guide techniques, cane techniques, and guide dog assistance, through which they gained information about physical, cognitive, Also about self-informed and self-independent skills. Already we know about that the braille reading and writing common under the cognitive skills. Likewise, daily living skills are taught to the visually impaired persons. It is a boon for them. The blessings of the vision are taught to them. This enables visually impaired people learn to cook, to indulge in tailoring habits, receive reinforcement to participate in the outdoor and indoor games that taught to them. They mostly enjoy the blessings of the sight through this training. Their kinesthetic sense are activated and tempted when gaining training in learning and using braille letters and words, tactile maps and pictures, which in fact serves as a boon to them to understand the world. Already we know about two girls with visual impairment from Tamil Nadu have successfully cleared Indian Administrative Service. This intent seeks appreciation to the efforts of special teachers. Visual impairment with minimal educational background have become good bookbinders, electricians, recanners, weavers, and handicraft makers and alike. Many of them have become academic genius. They have become lawyers, judges, professors, and politicians. So it is inevitable that materialistically they have achieved the sight or so-called vision in genuine terms. For this purpose, the white cane method, which was invented in 1940 in United States of America, the cane techniques aid the visually impaired to move around, along with the protective techniques, especially upper body protection methods, need to be taught to them. For example, if a lorry is standing on their way and they have to walk along the may pump upon the lorry, if upper body protection methods are not taught to them, their internal mind cautions them that there is a block before them. So, by upper body protection methods, that is by stretching forth his hand, he could avoid the dashing over the standing lorry. The, so, when it is critically understood by as about the importance of white cane, we need to protect upon the diversities encroached by COVID-19. Now we will move on. What is COVID-19? It is the virus is called corona and the disease is called COVID-19. The coronavirus has its beginning in Wuhan in China and has spread to several countries of the world and continues further. These are 7 church viruses. 4 seems will be friendly, 3 are deadly. The SARS and MERS virus entered in 2012 and 2019, but they didn't impact as this particular virus. The virus has a protein-like structure on it. It looks like a crown, so it is called corona. The disease has initially symptoms such as dry cough, sore throat, fever. This is leading to death. Now, let us examine the challenges of visually impaired people in preventing the COVID-19. Under this topic, some of the challenges that affect visually impaired people in the preventing the COVID-19 are like, first and foremost is stay at home, stay safe, and hindrance of social distancing practices at home. All citizens are advised to stay at home in order to avoid the victimization of effects of COVID-19. Next one, all people irrespective of their disabilities are advised to stay at home. Then they are relieved from their school, colleges and sheltered away. This brings a change in their environment of living. They are adapted to one kind of surrounding and habitat. When they are relieved of their surroundings and asked to stay with their parents, they feel disgusted to be away from their friends and communal entities. Then, though the lockdown is a meaningful one to safeguard their lives, they can only use the white cane and move around. Then, they even face laguna in uprising social distancing norms and principles at home due to lack of immediate exposure and adjustments. Next important steps is some of the challenges under the techniques. What the slide shows explain how to we wear the mask, wearing gloves and hand wash. They are taught to wear masks in order to close their nose and mouth so that the virus may not enter their throat. Wearing gloves. They are advised to wear gloves before heading outside and later sanitize their hands after they reach their destination. Hand washing. They are advised to use the practice of hand washing for a minimum of 20 seconds or so. Accommodating to these new practices in the form of habitual practices impresses upon with diversified challenges. Very important topic one is social distancing. When we move around in the society, people are asked to stay apart at a minimum distance of 6 feet. This is called social distancing. Usually, the visual impaired persons are habituated to touching the walls, doors, objects, and other people's hands and shoulders. Instead of this, they can opt for white cane techniques to move around with a sighted guide to guide them orally even when they do this. Wear mask and gloves, must sanitize themselves after they reach their destination with soap water or sanitizers. While moving like this with the help of white cane, they can use the app called Be My Eyes. In before that, our beloved sir Raghuram sir elaborately explained Be My Eyes. Now I explain simply. That is, enables the visually impaired to receive live assistance for sighted volunteers, by which they have volunteers to help them through their difficulties. There is another app called Nearby Explorer. It gives voice direction for them to reach their destination. Another very important, maintain excellent hygiene. They must keep their things organized and ordered. They must clean the handle of the white cane, glasses, braille, mobile phone, and low vision aids. They must keep their toilets, soap, toothbrush, and towel clean. They must make the proper use of their handkerchief while they sneeze or cough. They must wash their hands often with soap water. During lockdown, they can use the app services and order meals that will be brought to their doorstep. Next important topic is precautionary methods while heading outdoors. They must wear masks and gloves while heading outdoors and must sanitize after they reach their destination. The important other one is self quarantine. If any family member is sick, they must self quarantine themselves in a room having separate toilet facilities. Avoid going to public places where crowds are there. Next, reach for medical service and care if you are sick. If they seem to be sick, reach for medical care and service. In India, we have an app called Arogya Setu. they can use this app and get help. Arogya Setu is a mobile application developed by the Government of India to connect essential health services with the people of India in our combined fight against COVID-19. Arogya Setu is designed to keep track of other app users that a person came in contact with. It alerts to users if any of the contact test positive for COVID-19. The app uses the phone's Bluetooth and GPS capabilities. Next one is meditation. Lockdown periods are good for meditation so you can replenish your energy. Then loneliness. Though they may feel lonely, they can have lively chats with their friends. They can hear good music and read good books. Next one is eat and drink. They must eat well and drink well. They must have energetic food to have good immunity power. It will essential to avoid the affected COVID-19. Next one. All visually impaired do not have phones. Not all visually impaired have parents of their own. Some of them are orphans and some of them are abandoned by their parents. So they do not get support from homes. Volunteer organizations must stretch forward their hands for help to avoid any further consequences. Next, fear. We all agree that fear haunts sighted people as they have fear of picking up their diseases called COVID-19. So they are not ready to help the visually impaired or even any other person vulnerable to diseases. The sighted people have a wrong opinion that visually impaired are vulnerable to diseases, so they refuse to touch their hands or guide them. Next important one is shopping. The visually impaired persons love to shop themselves. It is interesting to see them interact with the shopkeeper. They will allocate their resources in a very intelligent way. They spend for their necessaries for save for their future. During this pandemic, they feel disgust because they have to rely on the sighted people for all their shopping needs. What statistics says that the independence of a visually impaired has fallen from 28 percentage to 14 percentage during this COVID-19. Another one is tackling a changing environment. Many business and public places have introduced new layouts and limit the virus. These adjustments may make harder for visually impaired to navigate. So go out less. Next, to control COVID-19, blocks are put on the streets and roads. This will disrupt the visually impaired person's mental maps. It will be good if shops introduce click and collect service. The RNIB has launched World Upside Down campaign to encourage the visually mental health services are providing crucial services to the visually impaired during the pandemic. We must recover from the pandemic to return to our independence. With these dreams of understanding, I would like to march to the end of my discussion with the following. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Where there is will, there is a way. Let us stretch out our hands, of course, with precautions to help these visually impaired to enjoy the blessings of this side with independence, where be it COVID-19 or anything else. God helps those who help others. With this, I conclude the discussions with sincere thanks and gratitude to all of them. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam Grace Devran, Madam, thank you very much. Thank you for your vital presentation about coronavirus, COVID-19. Stay at home, safety precautions, how to sanitize, how to wear mask, and how to maintain social distancing, about Arogya Setu, about meditation. All those matters are very useful and very useful presentation
Thank you.
for this webinar, madam. Thank you. I convey my thanks once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Viewers, one announcement. I will give the feedback form link will be available in chat box. Please make entries about feedback. And one more thing, no certification for this program for the participants. Thank you very much. Now I call upon our research officer, Mr. G. Tagore of our National Institute for the Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities, Regional Center, Chennai, to deliver vote of thanks. Tagore sir, please. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, good afternoon to all of you. So, first of all, I would like to thank the director, Himanshu Das sir, for providing the approval for this training program, this webinar. And so, next, I would like to thank the officer in charge, Dr. Sripriya Madam, for her wonderful inaugural, for her wonderful welcome address. And she is the person who is always motivating us. He is always providing the guidance and support through her wonderful leadership. And I also thank the today's chief guest, Mr. A.M. Venkatakrishnan sir. So he delivered a very good inaugural address. He emphasized the need of conducting more webinars and conducting the importance of communicating the needs of persons with visual impairment to the general populations. So on behalf of the NIEP Regional Center, on behalf of all the participants, I would like to thank heartily from my heart for being a chief guest for this program, and thank you so much, sir. And I thank Mrs. Maggie Santakumari Madam, who is the senior most person in the field, especially in the orientation and mobility. Very few professionals are available in the field. So among them, the Maggie Madam is one of the persons. She spent her valuable time, and most people know about the orientation mobility, but the history of the orientation mobility, Madam has explained very nicely. Thank you so much, Madam. And I would like to thank Mr. Raguraman sir. So he is a very big pioneer in the field. He clearly explained about the mobile applications. So the mobile is the main thing. If everybody have through the mobile, how we may able to navigate from one place to other places. So he clearly explained on behalf of all the people. We heartily thanks to you, sir. And we'd like to also thank the Grace Jabrani Madam, especially this COVID-19 situations. The mobility is hampered for all the persons. So in that scenario, how the persons with visually impaired persons are struggling with this mobility, and what are the ways to get rid of these strugglings. So Madam is clearly explained. So thank you so much, Madam. And I would also thank the Valli Madam, who gave a brief about the basics of the orientation mobility, like what are the techniques are available, and about the various games and available. So thank you so much, Madam. And also a special thanks to Mr. Kasmani sir, who is the coordinator for this program. Usually we conduct this program offline, but this year due to the corona situations, we conducted this program online. So he coordinated the activities very nicely, so arranged the resource persons and have a very good efforts. He made a very good effort. So heartily congratulations to Kasmani sir for the successful program. And I would also thank to Mr. Harikrishnan sir, who is the moderator for this program. Most of the times he's behind the scenes, he's working behind the screen. But this is the first time he came in front of the screen and provided a wonderful MC. So thank you so much, sir. And we also thank our technical team. So which is always behind all of our successful webinars, especially Mr. Pandirajan sir, who is supporting all the things from the preparation of the Google Forms to certificate distributions, and also along with him, Mr. Dinesh as well as Mr. Magimanaj is helping us in creating the banners and sending the forms and links and everything. So thank you so much for those persons. And I also thank to the unit heads of the NIEP Regional Center, and the staff members are providing the continuous support to all of us. And but not of the least, I would like to thank each and every one of the participants who participated in this webinar to make this program as a grand section. Thank you for this opportunity provided. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Rahul sir, thank you very much for your vote of thanks. Thank you once again, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Um, thank you for all the participants, resource persons, for everybody. I convey my thanks on behalf of our director, NIPD, and regional director, that is officer in charge of Dr. Sri Priya Madam, and other staff members. I convey my thanks for all the participants. Thank you once again. Thank you.